Long before it was called the United States, the land breathed quietly under endless skies. Vast forests stretched like oceans of green, rivers carved through valleys, and mountains stood like ancient guardians. This land was not empty, it was alive. Native tribes lived here for thousands of years. They hunted, farmed, and respected nature as sacred. Every tree had a spirit, every river a story. Life was not easy, but it was balanced. Then, one day, something changed. Strange ships appeared on the horizon. At first, they were just shadows in the mist. But soon, they grew larger, carrying men from across the ocean, men who called themselves explorers. They came with curiosity, but also with hunger. Hunger for land, hunger for power. They did not just arrive, they stayed. And nothing would ever be the same again. Red Square Chapter 2, The Fire of Revolution. Years passed, and colonies grew along the eastern coast. These settlers built towns, farms, and new lives. But they were not free. Far across the ocean, a king ruled over them. Taxes were imposed, rules were enforced, voices were ignored. At first, the people complained quietly. But frustration grew like a storm waiting to break. Then came the spark. A protest turned into rebellion. Farmers became soldiers. Ordinary men picked up muskets and stood against one of the most powerful empires in the world. The war was brutal, snow-covered battlefields, hunger, fear, death. But something stronger than fear drove them, freedom. Against all odds, they fought back. And in 1776, a bold declaration shook the world. We are no longer colonies, we are a nation. The United States of America was born, not in peace, but in fire. Yellow Square Chapter 3, A Nation Divided. Freedom had been won, but unity was fragile. As the country grew, so did its problems. One issue stood above all: slavery. In the southern states, millions of enslaved people worked endlessly, treated not as humans but as property. In the north, many began to oppose this system. The nation was splitting in two. Words turned into arguments. Arguments turned into hatred. And then, war. The Civil War tore the country apart. Brother fought brother. Cities burned. Families were destroyed. At the center of it all stood a tall, quiet leader, Abraham Lincoln. He carried the weight of a broken nation on his shoulders. The war was long and devastating. But in the end, something changed forever. Slavery was abolished. The cost was unimaginable, but the nation took a step closer to its ideals. Blue Square Chapter 4, Rise of a Giant. After the war, the United States began to rebuild. Railroads stretched across the continent. Factories roared to life. Cities grew taller, louder, faster. Immigrants arrived in waves, chasing dreams of opportunity. But progress came with a price. Workers labored in dangerous conditions. Wealth was uneven. Some lived in luxury, while others struggled to survive. Still, the country kept moving forward. Then came the 20th century. The United States stepped onto the world stage. World War I, then World War II. Battles were fought across oceans. Soldiers left home, unsure if they would return. But victory came, and with it, power. The United States was no longer just a country, it was a global force. Blue Square Chapter 5, Dreams and Struggles. With power came responsibility, and conflict. The Cold War began. Two superpowers stood on opposite sides, locked in tension. At home, another battle was unfolding. The civil rights movement. People marched in the streets, demanding equality. Voices rose against injustice. I have a dream. Those words echoed across the nation, reminding everyone that freedom was not complete. Change came slowly, but it came. Laws were rewritten. Barriers began to fall. The country was still imperfect, but it was evolving. Green Square Chapter 6, The Modern Era. The world changed faster than ever before. Technology exploded. The internet connected billions. Skyscrapers touched the clouds. The United States became a symbol of innovation, culture, and influence. But challenges never disappeared. Terrorism, economic crises, political divisions. The nation faced new tests in a modern world. And yet, it endured. Because at its core, the story of America was never about perfection. It was about resilience. High Voltage Final Chapter. From chaos to power. From quiet lands to global dominance. From revolution to unity. From division to progress. The United States was not built in a single moment. It was shaped by struggle, sacrifice, and constant change. It is a story still being written. A story of people, flawed, determined, and hopeful. A story that asks one simple question. What comes next? Clapperboard ending line perfect for video. This is not just history, This is the story of how chaos became power.